And with that, I'm switching over to English and give a warm welcome to Johanna Laiho Kauranne, who will talk about empowering statistical surveys with the use of AI. Now, Johanna has a master's degree in statistics from the University of Helsinki and also a PhD in social statistics from the University of Southampton. She is currently working as senior data and AI strategist at DAIN Studios, and she's also a member of the Scientific Advisory Board of Statistics Sweden, and not last but not least, an ISI elected member. And Frederick also asked you a question. What is the most exciting development in AI today from your perspective, and how does it influence your work? And you're very welcome to answer that straight away, or if you want to embed it into your presentation. But with that, I'm handing over to Johanna. Welcome.
Tack så mycket och det är kul att se alla här, eller kiva som vi säger i Finland. Det är jättespännande att höra om AI-utveckling i Sverige, men jag ska tala på engelska och hoppas det är okej. Så tack Mattias. And thank you for the introduction. And just in the initial beginning, there was a bit of blur of the organization. It was said DATSU. It's not used as an abbreviation of DAIN Studios. I'm as well working in the Helsinki University with joint research on the Social Data Science Center. And my talk today is partly covering as well that side of my work. But to respond to Frederick's question, I think, well, it's really difficult because so many areas with the AI and in the implementation is really exciting. But I think really exciting is to see how we have accepted AI to become as part of our everyday life and gradually as well part of our everyday work life. But at the same time, I think it's with the large language models, we have a lot of potential, but then when we are becoming more aware of the usage of the large language models, we may as well become more demanding and valuing more the human-to-human interactions. And so I think this kind of psychological acceptance is really interesting in our societies, both in demanding efficient services that are based on AI, but at the same time valuing those services that are then developing further to have more again, valuable human interventions. So as well, I think it is really exciting to and important to study how much value we are receiving from the AI and how much we are investing and how much we need to invest to the human control on the usage of the AI, and whether we still in the end having these resource savings that we expect to have from the AI and what it has to offer for us. I don't know if that's really responded, Frederick, to your initial question, but I think these are all inspiring me in my work. Now I'm trying to share my screen. I hope it works.
Yep, excellent. We see it.
Great. Okay, brilliant. So, and how to then move forward?
Just click on it. Should be able to just click on the presentation.
Here. Can you see now the next slide?
Yes, no worries.
Brilliant. Okay, so just briefly to cover the contents of my presentation, I'm first discussing of the challenges of the statistical surveys. that they are currently facing, and that leads to the use cases for artificial intelligence. And then comparing the GSPPM model and data and AI development process, and then looking into the FAIR principles of AI and the code of practice of the European statistical system. And then leading to the question that Frederick was already touching, whether AI can change everything. And then on actual tooling on how to develop the data strategies for AI implementation. So the challenges of statistical surveys, they are both pain points for the producers of statistics, for the data providers, and also for the users. In the design of statistical surveys, the societies and the economy, they are constantly in transition. And at the moment, we are facing really complex developments, the climate change and also the economy developments. The structures are changing, and in social context as well, the nuclear family concept has broken. But in statistics, we tend to look still society and economy in really structured manner, and that is required in order that we are able to capture the continuous development. But it also is risking that the statistics is becoming drifting further away from the relevant developments of the societies. So it is really important to maintain the relevance, and the AI can help us in order to detect what is the relevant scope of the societies and of the policies, and it can be used as a tool for statisticians to check whether we are drifting away or not. But maintaining the relevance impacts as well the comparability of statistics. If we are more capable in some societies or in a group of countries to capture the new developments more quickly than in other countries, then the international comparability of statistics is jeopardized. And also the international reach for the new definitions can take a long time, and so then the timeliness of this comparable information is sacrificed. But this is a kind of a balance situation that we need to constantly work on and see how to design the surveys and statistics better, and how to support countries and institutions, and also how to develop the legal frameworks. Then on the collection and the process, the surveys, they have had for a long time a severe struggle with the deduction of the response rates. That has high impact on the reliability and on the accuracy of the survey results. But the surveys, they have, with the legal groundings, they have started decades ago in the Nordic countries to maximize the use of register data to reduce the response burden, but also to balance with a deduction in the response rates. But this has imposed another restriction on the timeliness of the information. And so with the register data, the survey producers need to wait for the register data to be available and to be fully checked and authorized. And with the surveys, if the survey information production timescale is much more faster. So if we are able to use auxiliary data that the artificial intelligence can help us to detect, then we can make solution with the timeliness problem. But the auxiliary data, if it's new, it requires resources to establish interoperability as well. And this continuation of the availability of the auxiliary data can be as well unpredictable. So the structural changes may reduce coherence unless the time series are corrected and unless we are able to balance all these developments. But the AI may help us with this, and I will come back to this later on. Then on the dissemination, the dissemination means a release of the data and publishing the data, making the data available, and making as well available the methodological reports and the quality checks of the information. So the dissemination works when the data is findable and when it's accessible. But the concepts and the themes, if they drift away from the normal language and ontology used in the society, it can lead to situations where statistics results and survey results are misunderstood or ignored if we are finding, for example, in the media that their statistics wouldn't be relevant. So then the media will refer to other information, to more speedier information, maybe even from Google or other platforms. Then that reduces even more the findability of the statistical surveys if they are not referred to in the media. The public debate may also result into a reduction of trust, and it's also the discussions it requires may require unexpected allocation of resources. So it is really important to follow the current thematic in the society and continuously interpret the statistics and the release of statistics in a way that it is relevant for the society. And in that way, the AI can help us to build the dialogue and interpret the statistical findings so that they are well understood. And then one pain point for the survey industry is to measure the volume of the production, and that often comes not only in the number of surveys released or the number of tables extracted and so, but on the usage of information itself and how much there is reference to the data. And with the AI, there is another dimension to this, as quite a lot of information is currently retrieved from the chatbots, and the chatbots are then referring to, for example, survey results and information from statistical institutes. But this can be really difficult to measure and difficult to capture. So the KPIs of the survey organizations can as well have a pain point here. So then another example of the problem with the relevance and timeliness and the fast development of the AI, that actually comes from the survey industry itself. If we think about what percentage of companies would we now at the moment expect to use the AI, we could come with a relatively high percentage. And then as well, another question is, what is the acceptable timeliness for this kind of information? So if we are looking from the Eurostat web pages, we are finding, I was downloading this yesterday, the latest news article on the AI on European Union's enterprises on the usage of artificial intelligence indicates that only 2% would analyze big data internally using machine learning. 2% as well would be using service robots. But this information has been released in 21, the most recent one, and it has been collected so that it's referring to 2020 data. So it's at the moment, if we think of the speediness of the AI industry, the statistics itself is lacking quite a lot behind. And one problem of this is, like I said earlier, that the comparable information can be in EU can be released only when it's available from all the member states. So we have to see that all countries are producing fast enough the information, but also that the concepts, and so that they are generally accepted. Then another figure or infographic from this same article shows how the enterprises using artificial intelligence, how the share is distributed across the countries. And we can see that relatively quite many countries have relatively low percentage, and at the moment this could be much more higher. This is the last actually last statistical figure, and it relates to 1 year New Year information. And then currently the Eurostat is preparing data based on the data collected at 22, and they have promised that there is an article to be updated in 24 in May next year. So I think we have a pain point even within the statistical industry, that the timeliness of new areas that are radically increasing and developing should be using more data analytics and more machine learning and other tools of artificial intelligence that could speed up the production of information, or at least give us preliminary estimates of the current situation. As if we are thinking of enterprises making decisions on how to invest and or how to change their businesses using these statistics, they may look other information sources. So how then to utilize the AI in statistics production? We can see that the generic statistical business production model is that we have used for many years in survey industry. That has quite similar features than the data analytics and AI development process. So we start from the design phase, then we build the collection tools and the setup, and then we are actually collecting the information, processing, analyzing, disseminating, and then further continuing the information development so that we are evaluating our performance. And in the data analytics and AI development process, we have similar route, although we are probably defining more and redefining. So we are spending more time in the initial setup and in preparation of the collecting the data and identifying alternative data sources. And then in the data analytics and AI development process, we are using two data sets. We are using the test data and then the actual data that we are then using the models that have been done with the trained test data. But then we are further going to the evaluation and utilizing alternative dashboards and insights. We are productizing the models. And currently the GSBBM model doesn't have an approach to the use of AI, and my interest is to incorporate and embed the data analytics and AI development process into the GSBBM model, so that we would have safe routines for the survey statisticians to utilize AI and have some alerts there as well, so that they would be aware and knowledgeable about the risks, but also the potential secure gains that we can achieve. And one grounding framework for this secure use of data, and also for the wider expected use of efficiently public funding is other FAIR principles for the responsible AI for building trust. The FAIR principles have been developed from representatives from different science field and stakeholders, of funders and scientists of information, to see what are the core elements of data, how it should be available electronically, so that we could build easily interoperable data flows, and that we would be knowledgeable about different data sources. So the data should be findable, it should be accessible, interoperable, but also reusable. And this indicates as well how we should develop our AI frameworks for survey statistics. The European Statistical System, the ESS, has embedded quality criteria in the Code of Practice, which is like the second instrument to us with the EU statistical law. And it gives us a general quality dimensions of statistics, but also indications of how good statistical processes are, and how we should build our statistical organizations. It underlines, for example, elements of professional independence and accuracy. Then the FAIR principles, I would argue, is complementing the Code of Practice, because it brings into this scientific data management and stewardship, but also the principles and the tools how we should drive our AI routines. But it is not enough, I think. So the OECD AI value-based principles is another criteria or a framework that we can use to promote AI that is both innovative, but also respecting human rights, that is trustworthy, responsible, and as well relying on democratic values and treasuring them. Then when it comes to Nordic countries, I think also relevant framework is the Nordic AI ethics landscape. That is then developed especially for the Nordic countries, but it's linked to an European network, and that indicates how the corporates or organizations using AI would do this in a responsible manner. And if we are diving into these different frameworks, we can see that they are working well together, and they are supplementing each other. But why I have made this, you could argue that this is a bit of a mess, is that I'm saying that the European Statistics Systems Code of Practice couldn't be used against saying that we are not allowed to use artificial intelligence or exploit the potential of the artificial intelligence because of the legal framework of statistics. So I think the statistics framework, when it's open to new methodology, when it's not dictating that one should conduct surveys or statistics in certain manner, step by step, then we are allowed to use tested, good methodologies that the AI and data analytics is facilitating, as long as we are doing it with these frameworks by OECD and following the FAIR principles and as well the NUDIC definition for the ethical AI company. So that's these frameworks never give away the responsibility of the organization to be accountable. So we cannot say that the method itself would be accountable. The organization always is accountable for the information they are releasing. So if we can rely on the new methods, we can utilize them as well. And just briefly to mention the different categorization of the artificial intelligence, we can divide the artificial intelligence to machine learning and deep learning. We can say that part of the AI is explainable and part is more generative, and the deep learning is less explainable, but gradually we are able to build as well logic and start learning and getting the grasp of the algorithms that the deep learning is using. So that's it would be best not to use this as too strict categorization, as the main question is anyhow how much we understand ourselves of the AI that we are using and how responsibly we are using it. But also when we are using it, how much are we communicating? Are we communicating enough so that the final users of the surveys would understand that this is not organic information, but it has AI inbuilt usage, and that there are some risks that have been assessed and that they have been monitored. So it is really important to indicate this. But now, after going through the code book of different warnings and awareness that we have to have when using AI, looking into the solutions it can bring for us. So first of all, I'm using this meta-analysis quite recently published by Garcia Penalvo and Vasquez Ingelmo. They were doing a huge analysis of different scientific journals and aiming to classify the generic AI, as there have been different definitions for that. And they came into the final conclusion that generative AI is the production of previously unseen synthetic content that is in any form and to support any task through generative modeling. And if we are looking at this graph, we can see that there are many elements that resonate with the survey production. With the, for example, extraction of the data, text, possibly using images, code, then data augmentation, data to text, text generation, and then usage of generative adversarial networks, but transformers, encoder, decoder networks as well. So using cooperation with the survey scientists and with the data scientists, but also being aware of the cyber threats and so. But this can bring us many promising tools. So will AI change everything, also in surveys? I'm using just as a background this GSBPM model as we have learned it and as we have used it for years, and it may be time to open it slightly. So Martin Beck has already, with his co-authors in 2018, identified steps where we have proved use cases of machine learning. Then I have with Kimmo Vehkalahti detected in which phases or sub-processes of the TSBBM we could use AI and also generative AI in a way that we would exclude AI generative content. So we wouldn't have a large language model hallucinating data itself, but use these to utilize the tools for better and more faster production of information. And then we have as well detected certain steps. There could be more. I'm anxious to hear your approaches, where we would have special controls for human-centric AI. So we can use the large language models to a certain extent, but then we have to be cautious that it's not generating hallucinated information. So going from a sub-process to another, we can see that the purpose is not, the main purpose is not to use AI in surveys, but the main purpose is to bring, say, business value or more better usage of resources or higher quality without jeopardizing with the contents and with the knowledgeable aspects of the survey organizations and without jeopardizing with the trust. So we can see that, for example, in consulting and confirming the data needs, we can already use objective assessments of the AI with text generation. For example, going through policy papers and of the current government or of the that we are expecting that the EU policies would change, and then see our readiness and preparedness for changing the contents of the information. Checking the data availability in this step, we can use AI to detect a new innovative approaches and sources to improve our relevance, but also to reduce the response burden and so on. Unfortunately, I don't have time to go in depth to all of this, but just to mention that in the design collection stage, we can as well utilize different types of modes to tailor the approach to the respondents so that they would be better motivated. So using the auxiliary information that we have of them, we can tailor the approach and motivate the content and even use ad hoc scripts for changing the language of the survey. If we are not able to translate before the survey into all possible languages, we probably don't have resources for this in survey organizations. But so we can do this with the help of AI. But we have to be aware that if we are tailoring all the questions for the survey respondents with the AI so that all the questions would become topical, then we may actually come back to the initial problems with the survey methodology. How much do we have mode effects and the question effects if the respondents have unexpected different routings and different kind of questions when trying to survey the same phenomena, for example, the status of in the labor market. So I think here we have to be really aware that there can be a room for questionnaire design, but we should have much more further research on this. And actually with Kimmo and me, we would be really interested of hearing your problems and probably do together some piloting. So please be in touch. Here are our emails from the University of Helsinki. And then for the going on in the TSBBM process with the, for example, on testing and building the new instruments, we can use code generation, and AI can be really efficient for this instead of coding ourselves everything. So the Python and R, they are having a lot of capabilities on this. But then as well on running the collection, and the AI can be used as well for giving us signals that now we have a reasonable amount of data. So we could start already doing analysis, pre-analysis on this, instead of waiting for the final collection of the data, and in that way speed up the production of statistics, official statistics as well. Market research organizations are well advanced in the timeliness of surveys, but we in statistical organizations tend to be more cautious of the completeness of the data, but the artificial intelligence can help us in this. And as well, we can, when we go further in the GSPPM process, we can utilize the AI, for example, for managing the user supports and for gathering and conducting evaluation. Often the evaluation and the archiving, this is the final stage in the GSPPM model, and we haven't reserved enough time for this. But if we would use the analogy from the data and AI development process, we would certainly spend more time on this, as well as we would be training our models for the next round as well. But it is really important when we are using the new AI tools, and for example, if we would use those freely available, like ChatGPT, for example, that we are aware that if we are using them, we are sharing information for them already. So I think we shouldn't use them, for example, for helping us to write statistical releases, because then we are already sharing unpublished information. So then it would be better to utilize more closed AI systems, where we would be really in control of the release of the information, but still being able to utilize the power of the algorithms. So any kind of prevention of the leakage of the information is really important. There are concerns. As statisticians and as survey statisticians, we are conservative, although we are inspired by new innovations, but we must maintain the trust. So there are concerns on the bias and fairness of the results, on the data privacy, data security, the quality controls, the authenticity of the responses, and so on. I'm not reading out loud all of these that are on the slide, but with the response authenticity, I think regardless whether we are using AI or not in our production of the information, we cannot really control whether the respondents are using it. So it would be really important to gain their high motivation to respond truly and authentically, and not to use AI tools for generating their response. That is something that can be hard to prevent in the future, but with them being aware that if we are limiting our usage of new innovative tools, we cannot limit everyone of using them in the society. But all these concerns can be tackled with the responsible usage of AI, going back to the frameworks, and also continuous risk assessments and evaluation and monitoring what is happening. So we should always maintain the power and and the tools for our usage, and not rely that we are developing an algorithm that would then develop itself, and we would just release the algorithm and then it takes care of everything. So we have to restrict the usage of AI so that we have defined it so that it's excluding the AI generative content, and that we are able to raise the concerns already at the initial phases. Then if we are going further on this looks like my to-do list in a way, done certain things and some things are in attention. So highlighting the areas of the concerns that the FAIR principles are actually being able to support us is on the data privacy and the data security, on the quality control, the ethical considerations, and the transparency and explainability. But then the remaining parts of this list that are still our concerns, but they are as well the areas where the AI, if used responsibly, can bring improvements to our process. So these are actually the areas that we should really tackle, whether our contextual understanding is still valid, whether we are utilizing the technology advances for the complexity, and whether we are able to break the technological limitations, and are we having enough information of the user experience. Currently the GSBBM model is not facing enough attention to that, I would argue. And also the changing survey landscape and the comparability. Here we have to find the balance, whether we stay relevant or whether we are just following business as usual and then becoming irrelevant. The AI Act that is coming in the European Union is as well guaranteeing the possibility of usage of the AI. There will be the legal certainty, then the privacy concerns and where the data is being located and what tools do we have that we can use. That is, of course, a question. But currently, the responsibility lies with the policies of independent organizations. Of course, different countries can provide policies that are then supporting the organizations, but currently we need to be us making us aware of the innovative technologies and testing, so that we are taking the responsibility ourselves. So something then about the transparency and trust to these services. I'm showing two examples. One is from a Finnish OP Finance Group bank, and they are using artificial intelligence in their services. And they have made a really good example on how they are then reporting this to their customers or potential customers. And this is all available in the web. And another example of reporting on the usage of AI comes from the city of Helsinki, where I live, and utilize these public services to the citizens. They have developed an AI register that is available in the web for everyone. And there they have indicated in which services AI has been used and how. And this is these two are good examples of utilizing the FAIR principles in practice. So the usage of AI shouldn't only be our own focus, but we are as well are accountable for the society to tell how we are using it. And good ways to go ahead is to build a good data strategy for this and see what are the essential elements and the building blocks, and how we have to develop the organization to be mature to utilize AI. It demands new human skills, but also new skills from the leadership and good use cases that would then develop scalable advances. So we shouldn't limit our development only to one survey or only to one statistics, but we should be then utilizing and cascading this information further. And the ethics is really important. So the AI must be responsible, it must be explainable, and we must treasure this as well and utilize the POC and minimal viable products, but also to have patience so that with gradual development, we can then have a scalable advances. And when developing AI solutions, we should look that we are really providing good outcomes, not only for us, but for data providers and then data users. And I think I have exceeded my time, so I'm finishing here that it is really important to develop the culture in the organization and in the networks that foster the ideas and borrow the best ideas, but also incentivize innovations. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Johanna. Very in-depth dive into how we can actually use this and what to look out for. Thank you so much. We have a few questions that have come in. We have one from Nancy Steinbach. Taking the low use of AI shown in the Eurostat data in relation to the growing need or want to work data-driven, what do you see as important steps that actors need to take to be competent enough to work with data-driven processes?
Well, I would say that really important is to create an AI hub that is, I think, on its way in the European statistical systems innovation strategy. So I think it is really important that the survey producers from different countries would share the codes and build a kind of GitHub repository, and that we would be able to as well support different countries and show how we can develop and extract the information faster.
All right, excellent. That's a very interesting development. Another question from Nancy. Do you see looking forward that the use of AI in statistical processes and surveys will also have to be included as a special topic in statistical educations?
Yes, I think definitely. And if we are looking at the study programs already in the university, we can see that there is a lot of, like there are data scientists that are graduating or data engineers. So they may have already the high expectations as well that they are able to use AI when they come to work in survey organizations. And we mustn't forget to add AI courses as well to current producers of statisticians. So I think there is a new generation that is being educated, and it would be extremely important to have a good dialogue with experienced survey methodologists and with the new data scientists, and to have good discussion, excuse me, I'm saying across disciplines, but across approaches, so that we can see how the statistics is evolving and how it is possible to see at least part of the AI as data analytics. It is actually advanced statistics. So I think there is a lot of demand for educating, but then as well giving the room and the time for testing, just having hands-on. And that is super exciting, I must say.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Anyone else have a question for Johanna? Then you can unmute yourself and ask your question. One from Hannes. So AI can improve the timeliness, but what potential do you see for it to increase the quality, such as accuracy of estimates? You mentioned briefly that it can be used to extract auxiliary information, which could be one way.
Yes, I'm sorry, I wasn't good in the time use, so I wasn't able to go systematically across the all fields. AI can be used as well for detecting abnormalities in the data, and for actually diving into looking at the quality of the data. So it can more quickly as well looking at different patterns and different utilizing graphical images. It can recognize essential elements that with the human detection of making the same graphics and studying and kind of transponation and different regression analysis and so, and with innovative ad hoc assessments. AI can do all this more quickly. And by building up the testing and sharing as well the testing across the statistics or across the EU member states could be really say the 8th gear in our normal way of working.
Right, excellent. Thank you so much. Another question, as a statistician wanting to start using all of these tools, from your talk, there seems to be a lot to take into consideration. What would you say is the number one thing to keep in mind when wanting to start using AI tools?
Well, the number one would be that be aware if you start using your data, it would be best to make synthetic data out of that, so that you are not releasing by accident anything, say to a cloud, if your organization's policy doesn't allow for that. So it's not only in the usage of ChatGPT or so, but also with the other AI tools. So be aware, and if you're uncertain, then ask beforehand before doing a trial. But making synthetic data would be best. It's easy to make as well missing data and so. And don't use anything, any kind of direct or indirect codes that could then identify the respondents.
All right, excellent. Ties very well into one of our previous webinars talking about just how to generate synthetic data. That's available on our website and digital channels as well. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is going to be Josephine Rosén, and you have a question for Josephine as well.
Yes, I have. Well, first of all, it was I would have tons of questions to you, as I'm one of my, say, language skills used to be SAS, which is now as deteriorated as my Swedish. But I would be really interested of knowing how in SAS institutes used cooperation with your users or your clients, and as a development tool, and also, in your opinion, what would be the most important future skill to master human-centric AI?
All right, excellent. Thank you so much. We look forward to hearing Josephine's response to that. Thank you very much, Johanna. It was a pleasure listening to you.